Yo, yo, it's the Life is Dope podcast. I'm your man, Graffiti.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's Davey on the ones and twos and the threes and fours.
How you feeling today, R&B?
I feel great.
You feel great?
Yes.
All right, brother. I see the shade. You're killing them.
Thanks, man.
Cool. I'm giving compliments. I'm just being nice nowadays.
Yeah, you're real nice, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
How you feeling?
I'm chilling, man.
'Cause I don't ever ask that.
Yeah, you know, I appreciate
selfish.
that. I'm really I've been telling you guys, I'm in my Zen mode where I'm trying not to get offended by things.
Oh, really?
I've just been cooling, man.
That's great.
Yeah. What's going on in the world?
I'm struggling. I'm struggling to remain zen.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get some of the sad stuff out the way. Mexico was hit with another earthquake. So make sure that you guys are, if there's any sort of relief efforts that you guys can do as far as donating.
Not the Red Cross.
Not the Red Cross.
Right.
We don't mess with them.
By the end of the episode, we'll pull up some specifics, but not the Red Cross. Just find some faith-based or very specific organizations to donate to so that money can get to the correct place. Yeah. Man, this hurricane season has been stupid, yo.
Man, prayers to Puerto Rico.
Straight up.
Prayers to the whole Caribbean area.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Shit crazy.
They're getting tore up. You can also donate your relief efforts to UnitedForPuertoRico.com.
Word.
What else is going on? We ain't gonna talk about this cheating nigga.
We've been talking about cheating niggas a lot, man. Yeah, we go breeze past that one.
Making us look real bad.
Man.
What else is going on?
Travis Scott.
Oh.
About to have one of them. Does that count as a Kardashian?
Travis Scott.
About to have one of them little Kardashians.
Pulled a Black China on Kylie Kardashian. Or Kylie Jenner.
Oh, man. I think he got hit with the tea. The spoon in the tea, bro.
No.
Because at this point, okay, we get that it's a come up, but there's some other come ups out there, bro. You see what these Kardashians is doing to us.
No, that nigga was like, what? Kylie Jenner's cosmetic line is worth how much? Nut.
Man, nut button. No pull out. I don't know, man, because my man's Kanye been getting roasted all weekend for his dad bod situation.
Shout out to Big Ye.
Leave Big Ye alone.
Big homie Ye.
Y'all gotta understand this dad bod shit is real. It's really a thing. But y'all gonna get off Kanye, man, and his Kardashian come up. I don't know if you want to call that the come up.
What's it come up?
Because that nigga walleted out. And then you see Lamar still out here on crack.
Yo.
Bruce is not a man anymore.
Like every month.
So what's going on with Travis, man? Pray for Travis. Pray for Travis. Because it's going to be a good come up or a super failure.
Or come in.
Oh, shit. Nut. What else is going on before we get to our guest, brother?
We'll save it for later.
Okay.
Because it's about y'all's president.
Ah, shit. Not mine, bro. But, well, shit. Fuck it. Let's get to our guest.
Hey.
We have a very special guest in the building today. She goes by many monikers.
Ooh.
Does many things.
Talk that shit.
But I'm going to introduce her as Miss Roux Black.
Hey!
I was going to say Johnson. Johnson.
But people who call me Roux Black, are you black? It's people who knew me for a really long time.
See. So I put that out there. And then before we start, I want to say.
Oh gosh.
I want to say, we've interviewed Roux before.
Yeah.
I've interviewed Roux 12 times, and we never released them.
Yeah, it was loud that
So
day.
controversial.
It was always wild situations, but I want to put that out there publicly. Apologize for that because we got you here today, and we're about to go in and we're about to put it out there, and you're gonna talk to the people. So talk to them.
Yes.
Hey, Roux
Black.
Black.
What's up, Roux? For the people who don't know, let them know.
Well, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I go by, to those who really know me, Roux Black. My name is Roux Johnson, and I own an entertainment and nightlife creative consulting firm called Roux Black, ROUX Black, and we work with people, places, and things that want to expand their consumer demographic. The short version, we make things cool.
Word. How'd you get into that?
That's my elevator speech. So a lot of people know me because I started in this community as a writer. So I was covering hip-hop music and covering artists who were doing things related to the entertainment in the city, and then I found that there was a huge bridge between the people who were getting covered from a press level and then the people who were doing the things that make our city cool. And I realized that a lot of cats weren't really getting their looks because there was a lot of things that they were missing.
Right.
And so Roux Black was born of my experience in working with, people who want to take their brand or their idea from A to B, and then also filling a need in the city for wanting to elevate the culture of hip hop.
Right. Push up. Okay, so if I'm an artist up and coming, I haven't found my way yet because I'm just one of these young, hungry little guys out here lost in the world. And I say, yo, I need Roux Black to help me get out there or whatever that is. What's the process for that?
I mean, at this point, it used to be that would be the exact kind of artist that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who, was just kind of scrappy, but they had the talent and they didn't really know what to do. But at this point, the way that kind of the business model is going is that I'm working specifically with artists, especially on a hip hop level, who are ready to go and already have a product. So really, if you come to me, I'm like, I'm the bazooka for the housefly.
Right.
You don't come to me when you just are like, well, I think that I can rap. Like, you come to me when you're ready to take it to the next level.
Right. Bazooka for the housefly.
Bazooka for the housefly.
Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. I said that the other day because somebody did something. I was like, yo, you don't want to pull out the bazooka for the housefly. And I was like, why the fuck did I say that? I thought about it. That came from Roux. Roux says that a lot. That's dope.
My brother actually, my brother used that that's his example too. Like, because it can go a couple of ways. You come to me and you're like, I'm ready to blow up. And so it's like, all right, cool. Now you're Kanye West and you have no songs.
Yeah.
Or, and that's the idea of taking the bazooka and, you're trying to kill the housefly so you burn the whole house down.
Right.
That's that example. But then there's other times where you come to me and you're like, I need that bazooka. And so we just put that thing on our shoulder.
Blow shit up.
So in terms of public relations, what is PR for those who don't know? Because a lot of rappers don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good question because people think that PR a lot of times is like, oh, you just write my press release and you send it out to all these people, and then next thing you know, I'm like in XXL.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you write my press releases and you run my social media. They think that is like real PR. But PR is actually determining how the public sees what you do and how you relate to the public. Mm-hmm. So we're not a PR firm.
Right.
Even though people come to me because they want PR, we do campaign development, which basically means the PR is kind of like a facet of that formula. It's not the only thing. You have to pair PR with your marketing and with your, content creation and things like that in order for it to work. So PR is basically like taking on a person's whole movement and determining the messaging and the language that people are going to use about that person or their movement.
Straight up, man. Get you some PR, people.
Yeah.
And understand what it is when you reach out about it.
Right. To understand what it is
Word.
when you reach out about it.
So what would you say would be some of the top mistakes that artists make when it does come to PR and marketing and the full-on campaign?
They don't have any content.
Oh.
That is the thing. And I realized that because that's why I'm even in this, right? So when I was like first writing at Westword or later at the Denver Post or even for my own website, if I interview artists, they have no idea how to talk about themselves. They have nothing to show for who they are and what they do. And they have zero capability of listening to somebody like me telling them to get that shit.
Right.
Can we curse on this? I know it's
Oh, yeah, we say fuck a lot.
Wait for it. We'll get there.
Yes, go ahead and cuss it up. You said you wrote for Westword, Denver Post. How were those situations? Do you still write for Denver Post?
I do. Every now and then I'll freelance something for them, yes.
Okay. Westword is a nada, though.
No, because that was a long time ago, and you both definitely knew me during that time.
Word.
When I was really like new-ish to the city, and when I was writing about any and everything just to like give a platform, and that was. I wrote my last story for Westword in like 2012, in like July of 2012, and I wrote my first story for the Denver Post in like October of 2012. So writing at Westword was cool. That was where I got to like really know people and know the scene, and I think that's where a lot of people who hear the name Roux Johnson, that's kind of where they attach it. Yeah,
right.
Even if they didn't know, people all the time they are like, oh, I just know you used to write Westword, or they associate the brand with that. But it was dope because I got to pretty much do whatever I wanted to do, which was just write about rap shit.
Where I asked that to ask this. How do you feel about, how do I word this? So nowadays it seems like everybody's like a blogger or everybody has some type of media outlet. Yet it still feels like there's a void where the Westwords, you got like Rooster, shout out to Rooster. There's a lot of platforms, but in the urban culture, like really the culture, it seems to be a big gap. Like nobody's really talking to the people. Would you agree?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And I think that's why when you ask me, like, what is PR, it's hard to say that, like, I don't also do PR, because it's very important to me that hip-hop artists, R&B artists, progressive artists, experimental artists get, particularly black artists, get covered in these spaces. And when I was writing at Westward, I was writing about everybody, I mean, I don't know. I told myself I was going to do my best to fact check the things that I say before I said them, because I don't want to have fights after this freaking podcast, right?
Word.
But I believe that there was nobody else who was writing about, Mr. Midas and DJ K-Tone in the Westward. I'm not even talking about online. Like, Mr. Midas was in the newspaper, right? And this happened on multiple occasions for artists who haven't been written about in those spaces since.
Right.
And so I believe that, I was feeling a need. And so I was feeling a need. Like, that's what I was doing. I was there, I was feeling a need.
Right.
And then artists who, we struggle, we all say it. Like, you don't see a lot of hip hop or enough hip hop or the proper kinds of hip hop covered in Westward. And that's because in any professional space, entertainment wise, if it's hip hop related, you got to convince them that it's not amateur night at the fucking Apollo.
Right.
And if you don't have somebody advocating for that, someone who cares about it,
right,
you're not going to see it. That's why I'd be so annoyed at the rappers who give me grief. I'm like, you fucking schmucks. I'm every day advocating for this shit, okay? Right. I try to behave myself because they'll still attach who I am to what this community looks like on a press level.
And I think Graffiti and I, we see it on Facebook, Twitter, just social media all day, that rappers feel like they're being overlooked. They feel like they're not getting enough credit. Why do you think that they feel that way, and what would be your advice to them?
Stop fucking crying.
Well, that's my first thing to say. But the truth is, they're correct. They're not getting enough credit. They're not getting enough looks or whatever this goddamn whining is about. It is because for a reason. There are some artists who are dope in the town who aren't getting the looks, and they're not going to get the looks, and that's because they don't know how to take direction from people who can guide them towards the proper, formula.
Right.
And I also believe that the reason why a lot of artists have a hard time taking direction is because they haven't done the knowledge around how the music industry works. Right. Obviously, there's things that change, but there are some very specifics for how the music industry works. And if you don't know what those things are, then you're going to whine and fuck him moan on the internet until, next thing you know, they're going to be like, well, tag Roux and see what she thinks about it.
That's interesting that you say that.
That's my favorite thing.
I feel like in the hip-hop community, locally in Denver, for the people way out in Bangladesh that listen to this show, we're talking about Denver right now. It's a lot of, I don't know, the term gatekeeper gets tossed around a lot. I guess people feel that there's certain names that you kind of have to associate yourself with or check in with when you're doing certain things in the industry. Believe that's true?
Yeah, I do. I do believe that's true. And, yes, that is the case. And I think that's hard. It's hard for Denver because Denver is really on the come up. And it's not like there's been a million other artists like in New York or Chicago or, Atlanta who you can say, did it without going through the gatekeepers. Even in those cities, they did. Now, if you're asking me, this is a thing that comes up a lot as it relates to gatekeepers, and I believe that my name comes up a lot as it relates to gatekeepers. People think of that as like a negative tone, right. And so if you're saying like, do I have the power to like see a list of artists on a hip hop bill and be like, fuck him, right. Shut that down. Are you asking, do I have that power? Yes, I do.
Right.
Do I have the power to look at a flyer that comes out and talk to a talent buyer or someone who runs a venue and say, I wouldn't book that show? Yes, I do.
Word.
Have I done that before? No, I have not. And that's the truth. Now, there is no one who can say that they have unequivocally heard that I got their show shut down.
Right.
Okay? But because I exist in this sort of gatekeeper way,
right.
then it's just a natural thing to be like, oh, it's possible. But for me, now on the flip side of that, if you're asking me if I can look at a show and I can call a talent buyer on the phone and say, you should put this guy on that show, yes, I do. If you're asking me if I have been in meetings with talent buyers and promoters and they directly ask me what they think of something and I advocate on behalf of rappers, sometimes they know, sometimes they don't, absolutely.
Word. Cool. Well, that pretty much answered that.
And then also gatekeepers, you need gatekeepers,
Yeah.
you know, because we know what we're doing.
Right.
There's a reason why we exist. You want to be a gatekeeper? Well, the only problem is you didn't want to stand there to learn how to gate work. You just want to fucking schmuck around with your friends.
Right. Word.
And I guess now we're probably gatekeepers too.
Well, and see, that's the thing. So I don't like that shit. And I'll tell you why I don't like that shit. Because I agree with you. Gatekeepers are necessary. But I had somebody specifically call me a gatekeeper, but and I'm not gonna say that nigga's name because that's gonna start a whole nother episode. And we don't say names over here.
Okay, good to know.
The Life is Dope podcast.
You
We
don't?
say
No, that's
nah.
good.
We actually we do.
I was
I'm
gonna say,
being funny.
okay. I was gonna be like, cause I'm.
We most definitely say names, but in this case, like it's one of those
Yeah, you
like
don't have to.
Jay-Z ain't gonna respond to everybody type situation.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when I was called a gatekeeper, it was more like a negative type thing. You know, like, well, you don't fuck with us, or you won't put me on your show, yada yada yada. Y'all got the power to do it, just put me on. And people don't really understand the process, and so like we look like assholes when we don't want to just put you on. But like, nigga, we putting ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, we're still trying to grow, and I feel like everybody out here, from a you to a Francois, like as long as we've been doing it, we're still in positions where we have to build ourselves too. And so when people look at us like gatekeepers, like we could just press magic buttons and shit, like. Sometimes we can, but like you said, like we don't. So,
and can I say also, and I know this is like, I'm not trying to turn into the interviewer, but you,
Go ahead.
okay, yeah, because I'm like, I mean, I have a
Nobody
response to
ever does
that in
that, so
regards
go
to what
ahead.
my thought is on you being a gatekeeper, and also you is that the part about being a gatekeeper that most people resent is that they haven't done enough work to get to that point where they can make decisions that matter, right?
Right.
So people know about Life is Dope now because.
It's a bar right there.
Bars.
Oh my god! But like people know about Life is Dope, right? But it's also like, you know, they weren't with you shooting at in the gym back when like all the magazines that were going on, and when you were like producing, and when you were doing all these things that allowed you to be immersed in the culture to have a real opinion.
Right.
So now if they say that like you're a gatekeeper and you should just like quote like put them on or whatever, they don't understand the longevity that it took you to like get there,
Right.
and so that you can say whether it works or whether it doesn't work.
Right.
So, like, I don't know. People think about this idea of being a gatekeeper like there is some kind of like bizarre Illuminati.
Like, yeah, some Illuminati
but the other
shit.
thing is like we also been doing this shit.
Right. Like nobody just will put us in this circle. Like, okay, now you're one of us now.
Right.
It doesn't work like that.
Like, why do you think the podcast is winning? You didn't just wake up yesterday and decide to do this with your homie.
Right.
Who also is not just someone who decided to show up and do it.
Right.
Like, you know?
And people don't understand, like, really what we did. We bought mics, we had computers,
Yeah.
we bought cameras, we have a space, and we come here every week, every other week.
Yeah.
That's
And
it. That's
but,
all we do.
But aside from that, though, like that's this part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, not to get off the interview, but just kind of got to get this off too.
No, but yeah.
It's the actual grind that goes into what we do. Because aside from just us sitting at the mic and shit, like we have to. There's fees for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
We have to utilize our relationships to book these guests,
Talk to
and
them.
you know, like when celebrities come in town, like we got to pack this shit up and be where they are, deal with them. It's more to us just being here on the mic, like yo, come through, and people don't see that part, and so it's easy to say, okay, you guys are in a space where you could just put me on, but it's not that easy.
And
So-
some people don't deserve just because you have a podcast and you have multiple streams of like availability to, you know, elevate someone's art, including your own. That doesn't mean that everybody deserves it.
Right.
And that is really where we have to stop.
Right.
Like we gotta stop that shit.
Right.
And consistency is key. Like anything that you do, consistency, people are going to find you. They're
Right.
going to stumble across you and be like, oh, this person does this. But the moment that you stop being consistent, or you know, you miss a week, or you miss a workout, or you miss, you know, anything that it is that you're trying to achieve, you know, people are going to stop checking for you.
Right. Yeah.
I agree.
Keep moving or fall off.
Exactly.
But in short, it was a time, and it's kind of still like this, where people would be like, you know what, if I want to make it, I have to be on Roux's good side because she will
Right.
fucking kill my career.
Yeah.
I know you've heard that.
I mean, that's unfortunate because I don't even have a good side. First of all. You know what I'm saying? Like, people who know me, like, on a level where you've, like, seen me in the daylight, maybe you've been to my house, whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm warm and generous, and, like, that is really actually who I am. But to the world, it's very important that these cats see me as a thug or a bitch or whatever, because we don't know each other. You can't be all in my face. So the idea that people have to, quote, like, get on my good side or I'll, like, destroy their career, I use my powers for good.
Right.
Okay? Any good witch will tell you we don't do magic on other people, we do magic on ourselves. Right? And I don't want power over you. I want power over myself and over my own environment and over the ability to keep fuckboys out of it. Now,
Straight up.
if it so turns out that the majority of the sentiment you move around with is that you are said fuckboy, well, that means you're not allowed around me. And that's okay. Go find someone else to do your thing. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that makes sense. So does artists, do they need to be talented anymore? And the reason why I ask that is you have what's her name, Bad Baby.
Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah.
I fucked it up too.
Yeah, I'm like Bahabi. I feel retarded, but yeah, Bad Baby.
Definitely some Aramaic sounding name.
Yeah, Bahad Baby. That was problematic.
Yeah, we'll edit it out.
I was going to say to our hubby Shah, we don't want no problem.
Yeah, we love y'all, especially Baby.
What?
Nothing. Continue.
Ding.
So anyway, she recently got signed to Atlantic, and it was really just off of that one song that she had, the These Hoes song, which did like millions of streams or 1 million streams. So is it really talent anymore, or is it more so you just have to go viral?
I think it's both. I think there are people who are saying that they like that girl's song and that, whatever it was about it, they enjoyed it. It happens to be, what does Oprah say when, like, luck meets opportunity?
Right.
Because even if we didn't know her from the Dr. Phil thing, there would have been people who heard that and said they dug it, you know?
Right.
So it just happened to be that she had that, like, spark.
I agree. I think it's just a matter of her having that little buzz behind her that people actually heard it, though. Because it would have just been floating around on the internet until someone discovered it. But having that backing behind her for being a badass, disrespectful kid.
Yeah, she definitely is doing it from that Cash Me Outside thing that went viral. That's really what gave her the momentum. But and now I'm seeing all these blogs saying, watch out, she might be next up, the great rapper.
I've seen somebody saying she's about to knock Cardi B out of her spot. Y'all better stop with that blasphemy. Don't you ever disrespect Cardi B to God in front of me.
Yo. Say that shit.
Oh, hot Cheeto pickle eating.
Hey man, don't you ever disrespect Cardi B to God. Been trying to tell y'all for years, goddammit. Shout out to Cardi B.
Let's get Cardi B number one if she ain't number one.
Okay,
no,
she's
number one.
She's number one.
She's number one.
Well, let's keep playing it.
How you feel about Cardi B and then just women in general in the game right now?
No, I love Cardi B. I actually wrote about her first mixtape like 1.5 years ago, and I thought it was impressive that she was nasty and raw and unchecked, and I think it's dope. And it's not polished, My feminist friends got shit to say. My trans friends got shit to say. I understand, but that woman, it doesn't matter. We can all decide that we hate it, and she's still gonna rise because you can't. That's her right now. She's on the path. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I think people also they respect authenticity. That she truly is herself, like you said, unpolished. And she doesn't really care. She's just herself. People, if you look at like her IG and her Twitter, like her videos are hilarious.
Right.
She's always talking about giving head, and shout out to her getting her teeth.
I can relate to that.
And she was honest about that too.
Give head?
All the time. I literally was just telling someone how I'm like the dick sucking champion of the entire free universe. Two-time champion. And
where do they have the competitions at?
I was about to say, how do you gauge that?
How do we get tickets?
Where's that event?
Where is the registration?
Ladies, do y'all know? Like, y'all signing up soon? Just out here getting tore down?
Oh, jeez.
Shit. But yeah, I feel like right now in this weird ass world we're in, being just you and being authentic is gonna attract people to you because everything is so damn PC, man. You can't say shit.
Yeah.
Careful, man. You sounding like a Republican.
You sound like Donald Trump over there.
Man, don't ever say that in your life.
You look stressed as we brought that up.
I just killed my whole everything when y'all said that.
Fuck Donald Trump.
But since we on it, politics, Roux Johnson.
Well,
how do you feel about the climate of America right now?
I feel the same way you do. I feel exhausted. I feel disappointed. I feel frustrated, and at the same time, I feel like fired up and emotional and proud in a lot of ways, and more I feel ready. I feel like I know who what my certain, principles are, and I know what parts of those I can kind of like sway on,
Right.
and what parts of it I don't. So I know whose side I'm on. Donald Trump has always been, you listen to some rap songs, you hear, lots of people talking about Donald Trump from like in the early 90s, because of course he's always been around. He's always been controversial and a total fucking racist. I mean, stories of his family, throwing people out of their home. I mean, it's just
right. It's a lot.
We're not surprised by what's happening. The thing is now is that we have the internet.
Right.
So not only do we have the internet, so we see it more, we have our own ideas about it more. We're able to rabble rouse with the people that we believe have the same ideas we do. And now it's like the state of the world is becoming more. This is the revolution being like televised.
Right.
Real shit. How about you, brother? Go ahead. How do you feel about?
I'll let you go first.
Well, yeah, because mine's gonna be a lot shorter. I don't know. It's like you said. We know who and what Donald Trump is. When it was a realization like this guy really might be president, I wasn't surprised because again, we know who he is. We know what America is, and people may say, "Well, this is the same America that voted for Barack." Again, there's two sides. You know what I mean? That may have been us, but this is them, and that's really who they are. That's really who he is. So anything he does from this point, that's Trump. Like whatever, of course he's gonna say or do that type shit. My problem is, what do we do? Because like it's not what is Trump doing, is what do we do at this point? And that's what got me fucked up. Because like I don't know.
I don't think I can do 3 more years of this, man.
But what do we do?
That's what I'm saying.
I can't do 3 more.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but what do we do? Because like, if you look at the NFL right now, I know we're gonna get into that, but fuck it, let's get into it. This kneeling and all this shit, like, somebody asked me how do I feel about the boycott, and I'm not on one side or the other with the actual boycott because I see various sides of it. Just knowing athletes and just the way we rock. At the end of the day, these men are working. This is how they provide for their family. Millions of dollars or whatever is still a job for a lot of them. These are young cats. Some of them just, this is all they've ever known. So I don't want to say I want to hurt these guys' money because it's not them. You know what I mean? It's the organization.
And also when it comes to boycotting the NFL, both sides are now boycotting. So we can't put ourselves in a
But are they though? And that's where we go back to what do we do? Because like even with these kneels and all that, all right, that's cool. Now everybody's kneeling, which I feel a certain way about because I want to see you guys kneel. But how about you just don't play? And I know that hurts the soul of America.
I don't agree with that.
Because at the end of the day, they're not kneeling for the right reason at this point.
Right. They're kneeling for the public eye.
Right. And let me explain that because nobody kneeled with, well, not nobody, but the majority did not kneel with Colin.
Right.
Yeah.
They're kneeling against Trump.
Right. Agreed. Yeah.
So it's like y'all are kind of missing the point of why he even kneeled in the first place.
But it's just not that simple to, and I understand, black radicalism on all levels, I really do, but it's really not that simple to be like, well, just don't play.
No, I agree.
And on a logistical level, niggas got contracts and shit, like all the
That's
multiple
what I'm
other
saying.
things. But also, like, I think for the players to not play absolves the assholes from being assholes. You know what I mean? Right. And so it like lessens the conversation, or it changes the conversation, it shortens and I also just don't think it could ever be an option that they like not play.
And that's the thing. It's the bigger picture is the NFL players cannot just say, we're not going to play because of the way the organization is set up.
Right.
The NBA, these things already got their check. You know what I mean? That's why they're so radical about what they're doing. Like,
and they have better contracts too. I think the NBA, whatever their union is called, I think that they've negotiated more on their beyond their.
I know what you're saying.
They're advocating more, but that's interesting. So it's the way that I was thinking it was interesting. LeBron called the president a bum. I thought, is that okay? Can you say that? So they have a union versus like the NFL players do not have a union.
I mean, they do, but I don't think that they have as much leeway to express themselves politically.
The NBA encourages that.
Yeah,
like
NFL doesn't.
NFL doesn't, and that's where you got to look at the bigger picture. You got to look at the actual organization. Because what was it this weekend where all the owners and teams are putting out statements about how they're so proud of their guys for standing up.
Flip-flop mug, man.
These guys are the guys that funded Trump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and left Colin Kaepernick off the roster.
And they won't give him a job. So it's like, what are y'all really doing? So I don't know. I don't know.
I thought it was cool. It is moving, and this is propaganda, right? Because you guys especially have known me for so long. I don't know nothing about football, okay? But I know about the news of football, and so it was very moving to see, a line of Denver Broncos players kneeling. Like, it was super moving to see that, and to know that ultimately, Colin Kaepernick was doing that because of the brutality and the police brutality against Black and brown people, and to see that even if they weren't all as knowledgeable about it, it was very moving. And that's the propaganda, to be like, well, don't I feel better that I saw the Denver Broncos kneel, or whatever. But I also think that it does sort of distract us from the point of being like, now what are we going to do tomorrow when there's no football on TV?
When Colin still doesn't have a job.
Right.
Do we have to keep kneeling every Sunday, or did we prove our point this time?
And if we kneel every Sunday, it's like, okay, now what? Like, now it's, okay, that's what y'all are going to do. Y'all are going to kneel.
Eventually, people
whereas
get tired of it.
You look at like the Golden State Warriors. Steph said, "Yo, I'm not going to the White House," and Trump said, "Well, you can't come." He's like, "Well, nigga, I said I'm not going." And then the whole team in the organization is like, "Well, we're not going." That's a bold statement right there.
I agree with that.
Never gonna see that with the NFL.
Listen,
No.
never in my life would I have ever thought the president of the United States would pick fights with NBA players, reporters. Like this nigga is like a real bully, like a real life bully.
And
like,
he's a real life Twitter troll.
Like, you have some nerve to get on Twitter and uninvite Steph Curry.
Right.
After he said, because he hesitated, this guy I follow was saying something I thought was very interesting. Obviously, Donald Trump is like a personality, like a TV star, and he was like, the reason why he's inserting himself in the sports, especially the NBA and the NFL in the exact same day, is because he can't handle not having the attention on him in some capacity. So now we're not just talking about whether they said no or what. Now he's directly involved in the freaking NFL by saying that niggas should get fired.
So bro is really still trying to get ratings as the president.
Right, but it's like you have the most ratings of anything because you're the president. You're on TV every day.
Right. And then on the flip, you on Twitter talking to Steph Curry after you just told your man's Lil' Kim that you're going to blow up the whole North Korea,
Like, listen, I cannot. I've been very neutral. I've been very peaceful. I've always tried to look at both sides logically, but there is no logic to this person. Like,
it's wild, bro. What do we do though? Like, we can talk about it all day, but I'm at the point where it's like, yo,
listen,
we can't tolerate it. So what do we do?
Keep kneeling. And to all the people who think it's disrespecting the flag,
they don't get it.
How do y'all feel about Russia hacking the election? Isn't that disrespectful to the country?
Right.
Isn't that disrespectful to our democratic process?
Yes, all of that. And I think we have to keep showing up. That when I think about everybody's asks, well, what should we do, or what, I think it's just you keep showing up and being who you are.
Right.
That's the best way to resist, is to be 100% who you are in these unconventional spaces, Black as hell, wherever you want, and continuing to speak out and kneeling and all that.
And he has the nerve to condemn the NFL and the players, but he didn't have that. He didn't have that same energy to white supremacy. He didn't have that same.
They're very fine people.
Some of them are fine people. Yeah, the fuck they're not. They're all bad people.
Every one of them.
But these athletes are some bitches.
He didn't have that same energy with Putin. He's like, well, everyone's killed somebody. Right. No, we haven't.
Niggas get killed every day, B.
No.
He said that. Quote. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. And then I'm in this weird space, too, since we're on it and we got Roux in the building, and this is how we talk.
Okay.
Wow. This, like, black as they come. But now we got another thing dividing us, and it's just all getting pretty irritating because people are, all right, well, there's this side that's like, we need to unite as black people and just really do this, and then there's this side that's like, well, we need to unite as all people, which, okay, it's all up, we get that,
but they don't want us to unite. They just want they don't want us. They don't want peace. They want quiet.
Right.
They want us
so
to be
at
quiet.
what point do we be like, yo, they drew the line in the sand a long time ago?
Yes.
I think that we recognize that they drew the line in the sand. I think, first and foremost, my position on this is just like, what Malcolm X says. We first have to come together as black people first, right? And then we can allow our white allies to use the privilege of their whiteness to help us,
Right.
but only based on sort of the mission that we as black people have decided is the mission.
Right.
And I think the struggle comes in with what part of, like, then you were looking at, like, what part of the black spectrum are you on? You know, how radical are you? How more conservative are you? How
Right.
willing are you? Like, you know, say that you think that the football players should stop playing. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Because it's like, how can niggas not go to their job? Okay.
Right.
But then I also can identify with certain aspects of that. And then obviously there's the bizarre spectrum because, like, I'm a woman, you know, and my thoughts on being a black woman as it relates to this struggle are probably going to be different than two black men who, you know, are educated and mostly progressive and probably wouldn't just use your blackness to continue to oppress me.
Right.
But a lot of my position is also that, like, black men embody the supremacy that they are held under by white people as it relates to black women.
Right.
So it's like, I don't fucking know the answer to that. Now, okay, when it happens, when the mothership comes down and we're doing whatever, of course I'm on your side.
Right.
But, like, you know, on a random Wednesday, might be like, Davey, listen, your conservative fucking politics and your desire for me to cover up and not be loud annoys me.
Right. Real shit.
We have those kinds of conversations, actually.
I don't tell Roux to cover up.
Or just, you know what I'm saying? But, you know,
That's
you're
real,
much
though.
more polished
Right.
than, like, most, you know.
It's this. I seen an image online and it sticks in my head. It was a bunch of like corporate white guys playing chess on the backs of like slaves, and then at the bottom it says, "All we have to do is stand up." You like
Yeah.
change the game if we stand up, and that's why I say, like, I know logistically they can't just stop playing. That's like you just not going to work. You just killed your income,
Right.
whatever. But if you really want to change the face of America, like, look at what Colin did and how that grew into all this. Imagine niggas not playing football.
Right.
Like, against what the organization is saying. All right, if I'm in my third year or whatever, even if you're just not that guy, and I say, you know what? I know y'all need me, but I'm not playing.
They're just going to find some white people to take their spot. That's
No,
what I think.
but think about it, because this is all a big deal because it's football. Football is America. You know what I mean? America loves this shit. Sports, money, those type things really hit people in the heart. So no niggas playing football. There's no football, and those are the things that sound unrealistic, and they're crazy because of the way things are set up. But if you really want to make a difference, how much money is that going to kill by us just not playing?
Well,
They're going to fire everybody.
But I also think that it's not just that Colin Kaepernick wasn't playing football. It was that he had some sort of system and he had a goal in mind, which was to, you know, do philanthropy for $1 million or whatever it was. So he went and decided this is what he's going to do. So if there was some kind of infrastructure like that, then I would say, okay.
And no, that's what I'm saying.
You know, Von Miller or like,
Yeah.
you know, whoever should just stop playing football and then, you know, turn into an activist or whatever.
Right. That's a bigger thing, though. And not even an activist, but like when we had Napalm come in and he was talking about how being in the league isn't as long term as people envision it when they first get there.
Yeah, it's like 3 years.
Right. It's a systematic thing where we get these athletes straight out of high school or whatever, and in their mind, all right, football is my life. All right, you're about to give me millions of dollars. My family's about to be straight. We're going to be good. Nothing else is in play. So if we're getting systems moving where these athletes have something else to rely on, and you feel deeply in your heart that you don't want to play today, don't play. You know what I mean?
I just think the NFL, the players union or whatever union that they have to
It has to be.
they have to renegotiate their contracts or give them some sort of freedom to be able to express themselves, because really that's the big issue. That's why everyone is so quiet when when Kaepernick took that knee.
bag. It's money at the end of the day. Y'all remember when the NBA? What year was that? The NBA just didn't play.
Yeah.
The actual lockout. That made a big difference.
It's huge.
So I don't know. Well, that's where we at with it.
So maybe not play, but definitely they could do a lockout. They could go on strike. And they could
Something. We got to figure out ways to hit this government for real, because they getting us. They about to get us blown the fuck up.
They do it for their money. Do it for your freedom. Do it for your freedom of expression.
Word. Freedom of expression. And Roux, you use that a lot.
I do.
You be going off on everybody.
I don't have to do that. I try not to. I mean, I think that this is what we're talking about that gatekeeper thing, that there's this idea that because I have this perceived power that I am supposed to, have super thick skin, and I'm supposed to be. I work in nightlife, so I'm supposed to just accept that kind of abuse. Now, to some degree, yes, you can't bitch out every person who says something ridiculous about you, but there is this like idea that I'm supposed to not like torch niggas.
Right.
Now, again, and I say this just because we all go so far back, so I'm not trying to be all like back in my day.
Right.
But I'm saying that you guys remember when I first came on the scene, I was torching niggas all the time.
Flame mad niggas be.
Yeah, like I would literally just like not care about what it would look like from the long term, about what they felt like, about their position.
Right.
And I really have like calmed down, from taking a lot of those things so personal. But at the same time, there's a couple of things that will cause me to like blow back at a motherfucker if they're talking shit, and they do, and it's because I'm a woman.
I was just about to say, do you feel because you're a woman? Because I know a lot of guys in the industry, even just some of my homies, like when you contact them, they talk to you like a child. You know what I mean? Just because that's how the industry is. Like motherfuckers know you either want something or they want something from you, so it's not we're buddy like this is business. But when it comes from a woman, it's a little bit different.
There's a couple of things. One, if somebody right now incensed the both of you in such a fashion on Facebook and you told them to pull up, you guys would fight it out like men, and then probably the next day there would be nothing going on, right? But the other thing is
shooting me.
Right?
Definitely be nothing. But
you're way too old to be fighting.
If somebody, really incensed a man in the industry, is what I'm trying to say, they would get hit in the face and that would be the end of it. But because I'm a woman, there is this one, confusion around how I have so much power, and two, this idea that I'm supposed to accept what is their normal way of dealing with women.
Right.
That's really what it is. And so, a lot of, no one has like ever, hit me in the face, or no one would ever do that. Right. But a lot of men, they try to like, pinch me down so that way they are showing me that they are the alpha species in the equation, even though I have maybe what is considered to be the thing that they want, which is this like access or resource or whatever it is. So they're like, oh, you're not going to give that to me? Oh, well, you're a fat bitch.
Right. Now you a bitch.
First of all, can I say something really quick?
Please do it.
This is going to be the quickest 2-second tangent, okay?
Say names, do it.
First of all, your mother's a fat bitch.
Oh, okay? Don't look at me.
Second of all, and the reason why I said that, is not to be obnoxious.
Look at the camera when you say shit like that.
Right. Not to be like, totally obtuse and obnoxious, but I'm telling you that this is the kind of behavior that comes from black men about me, because I'm a black woman who has this power, right? And so they can't figure out why, why I have this power, why I'm in this position, or why I can't be controlled by their blackness and their alpha maleness. Right. You will not, and I say that really because whenever, especially men get mad at me, they want to go back to the fact that they can't figure out why I don't fit the archetype of a club honey, but I work in nightlife, right? I'm tall, I'm big, I take up space, I got short hair, there's no man that can say I'm his woman, and so they can't get to me that way, right? You will not, as black men who work in any industry, attach your disgusting white supremacist ideals to me. I'm a black woman, okay? You can't call me a fat bitch and think that that's a proper insult, because anywhere you go in the world, black women of size is where it's at, okay? Any size. You can see a black woman who's, slim, thick, or whatever, but we are celebrated for our curves and for what we look like, and no one will ever use that shit as, but then I start talking that shit, and I'm like, oh no, actually your mother's a fat bitch, and her mother was a fat bitch, and you know what, Harriet Tubman was a fat bitch, and nigga, you would have got shot in the motherfucking forest, because you didn't even deserve to be here. But when I say that, everyone's like, oh, Roux Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Right.
Fuck y'all.
Let them have it.
Fuck y'all. Fuck every single
Let
fucking
the
one of y'all
sing.
niggas, okay? Every single fucking one of them. And anyone else who thinks that because I'm a, quote, fat bitch, that I've had to get on my knees for any of these niggas to attain the power that I have, ask your boyfriend if I ever sucked his dick. I'll show you the messages, right? I did you a fucking favor. It's obnoxious, it's offensive, and it also hurts my feelings.
Straight up.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, that is very important.
I can't follow that up.
No, you just gotta let some air on that one, because she let the chopper sing.
Seriously.
The team goes.
You know what I'm saying? Fuck these niggas. It also hurts my feelings because the other thing is, like, as a woman who works in this industry, I get hit up every single day by men who need my help for whatever they have going on. They want me to listen to them. And there is this idea in our community, and I know you both have heard it, that I am out here throwing myself all over these motherfuckers. First of all, have you met the rappers in town? Nobody was listening to them before I came to town on a professional level. They'll do anything to be heard.
Talk to them.
Okay?
Wow.
I don't have to offer my body to these niggas. I offer niggas eye contact and they just act like, you know, Mother Teresa fucking came down from wherever.
Right.
Okay.
Fuck you assholes. Every single fucking one of you, okay? And what if I was fucking the niggas in the scene? What about that? What if I was?
What y'all gonna do?
What y'all gonna do?
Hey, love
Anybody?
Bet ain't nobody gonna run up though.
You ain't gonna beat me up?
Hey.
You ain't gonna beat me up?
Gotta start using that one.
You know what I'm
Ain't
saying?
nobody gonna run up though.
You ain't gonna run up though.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna run up though.
Right.
You ain't gonna run up though. And the women, you know, there's a lot of girls who, you know, have a lot of issues with my abilities and my power in the community as well. You know that happens. People tag me in things on Facebook and they'll directly go to that person and tell them that I don't deserve to have this quote credit that I receive, or they think that I don't, you know, they're wondering why I lie about who I fuck. Like, what?
My thing though.
I'm going ham right now on this podcast.
No, yeah,
I'm
go
so
ahead. We
sorry.
love that shit.
I just had to, Donald Trump had me fired up too.
No, you good. My thing though is like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at this point, I mean, nigga, I'm 30 years old now. Like, we be fucking. You know what I mean? Like, I'm married and shit now, but it's like everybody wants to talk about who fucking who. Like,
Yeah.
why are
Like it's
you
high school.
Why are you not? Is the question. And like, you know, not just, you know what I mean. But like, I'm not saying just get it in, but you know, do your thing. Who cares?
Just keep it safe.
Yeah. Condoms are good.
Yes.
I didn't use them shits, but
Okay.
but yeah,
You got all the babies.
all the kids, hella kids. But if you're in a position in the industry, yeah, man, if you're in a position in the industry or just any business, and you handle business, and you were like clearly handling business, why does all the other shit even matter? And I think that's where things get petty, and it's like that's why I kind of try to just move in my own lane and not even move in that type of circle. So y'all don't need to know what I be doing aside from this shit. You know what I mean?
Well, and most people in the, you know, and I said all that because I know that a lot of people who watch, you know, and listen to your podcast are people who have these perceptions about me. And I said all that because it's just really like certain people who have a kind of an arm's reach to that rumor, you know? So I've been doing, like, I was running media for Global Dance Festival, 2 nights of the, you know, the biggest at Sports Authority Field, like whatever. None of those people don't hear that stuff about me.
Right.
You know, when I'm teaching my How to Kill the Game 101 on campuses and I'm like really helping to change and elevate this culture that we love so much, they don't hear those things about me. It's the people who kind of, operate in one system of thinking about me and they don't really know. And so as a result of that, that's where like the rumors come in and stuff like that. And again, then you have like the even smaller circle, the people who like really know me, really know that's actually not true,
Right.
at all.
Because really, if you care about what people think, and there's always rumors being said about you, I think your network's too small. Because I'm pretty sure if you go to LA, you don't hear anything negative about you. If you go to New York, you don't hear anything negative about you. So sometimes you just have to just increase your network, expand your network until you don't hear those things. If you're hearing negative things about you, your circle too small.
Absolutely.
That's
I agree
real.
with that.
That's why I keep highlighting the point that when we're talking about Denver stuff, we're talking about Denver stuff. Because we legit got fans and like friends and shit. So
well, and I do other stuff too that's not even just like, you know, to serve the hip hop community. Like I was in France for 2 months working on a book, like doing my thing that, you know, I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna, well, you know what's funny is I learned no French. Okay, I learned 0 French. It just is a really hard language. But, you know, I worked on this book for 2 months and I'm gonna spend all of October editing it. And, you know, I've been working with this writing coach. And so it's like, that's who I am. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I care about. I want to create this dope product that I believe you guys are really going to enjoy. And it doesn't really have anything to do with, like, hip-hop necessarily. But it's something I'm very proud of. And so I don't spend as much of my time, you know, being hurt by the things that people say on the internet or the things that come out. Because it's also like, you know, I type more words per minute than most of these niggas have ever read in their life.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
But when you know, so it's like when sometimes I really just want to be torching these assholes. I'm just like,
You can't read the comments, man.
No. I make that mistake every time.
I really had to
Especially
learn that, man. I
Trump
fucked
ones,
up.
I'm like,
oh no, that will
you're gonna have a bad day.
You can't read the comments, man. I stay off of our YouTube because even last night I was like, damn it, I read the comments and there's the Cassidy Banks episode, like people just on that trolling that shit, and I'm like, man, just don't do it to yourself. Cause what the fuck are y'all doing to be talking about what we're doing? Right?
And when you have, it's not even saying, like, obviously you guys probably listen to your show and you're like, okay, well, here's how we could do this different or how we could do whatever. Like, people can and do give you real criticism. Like, people who just want to be horrible to you or, like, not even people who know anything probably about producing a show.
Right.
That's rude.
It's a real situation.
It's some real situations. People were talking so much shit to me this summer. I was like, fuck you, assholes, okay? I fucking came back from France early to produce Test Kitchen. We fucking sold that bitch out. And motherfuckers was like, well, we've done this before. It's not really that big of a deal that she's done this. Little fucking schmuck rappers were popping shit. I was like, let me ask you guys a question.
Word.
Who has booked you on a show before or after that was as dope or going to be as dope? We built a fucking red velvet wall for these assholes. Some of these cats never even have professional photos. They want to go schmucking around and chatting and talking shit. Rude did and blah, 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 blah. I hate them. Okay? But oh my gosh, you're so frustrated. But then it's like, y'all never produced no show.
Right.
You
shit,
know?
no shit. Well, all right, let's reload the chopper. Tuck that away for
Fine.
Because you keep getting into the good shit that I want to ask, but like we're too busy chopping niggas. Test Kitchen. Let's talk about it. What is Test Kitchen? How did that come about? How did you kill the game with it?
I mean, Test Kitchen was really was born at the Black Box in Cap Hill because her name is Nicole Casilla Villano. She's a legend to me. She has done underground dub and, you know, dubstep and kind of like EDM music in the city for years and years, brought Diplo to town for the first time, all that. So I've always been a student of hers. And then she bought this venue called the Black Box and she was like, so how can we get like rap shit in here or people who do, you know, other outside of our style? And I was like, I mean, I got this idea. So I basically cleared my entire email of rap because we realized that people ultimately, they want to play music and they want to hear what you think about it.
Right.
And so we booked people to play these shows, and then I brought in some of my friends to give kind of that A&R style feedback so that artists would be able to, you know, play in front of a dope crowd of people. And it developed into the biggest one, which we just did in July, which was a concert. And so that was really cool. That was like, even though I feel like people were mad about it, it was only because how dope it was.
Right. It was crazy. They're so good at hate, man.
Oh my God, they're so good at hate. I'm like, but what about how dope this shit was? Like, all you guys now know about Sid the Kid.
I was just about to legit say, Test Kitchen is the reason why I'm a fan of Sid motherfucking Kid.
That's my guy.
Like, that guy's a star, and I've never seen him before Test Kitchen.
Well, even prior to that, I put Sid on his first AEG show. It was with Future Heroes and Freddie Gibbs. But it was like probably a year ago. You know, he was just like a feature, you know, with his homies kind of thing. And then I always watch rap shows from the back with Francois. And I remember like seeing him like put his phone in his back pocket. I was like, oh, Francois put his phone away to watch this?
Yeah.
Okay. We gonna keep an eye on this kid.
Yeah, doing crazy numbers, and his responses like almost on some XXX Tekashi.
He got that cold fall. It's crazy because like
it's trash.
A lot of people did some dope shit, but when Sid got on stage, like his energy when he came out, I was like, this is about to be the one. And then I seen the crowd. It's like, did they come to see this nigga? And then they left with him. Like, everybody was outside taking pictures with him. Damn. So shout out to Sid, man. Come on,
he's always killing it.
Yeah.
So incredible. Tony Colley is another artist who I feel like when we're talking about this radical shit right now, like I remember hearing him on an open mic Test Kitchen, and he was talking about like Trayvon Martin, and you know, people like see a packed crowd, they want to talk about their chain and whatever. And I was like, I like him. I've followed his work. I'm really impressed by him. What's his name? At Ease. So they, you know, I guess it qualifies as Christian rap, but it's dope. It's incredible. It's uplifting. It's really wild and amazing. We had a stage dedicated to only women singers, and you know, niggas had the nerve to bitch about the fact that there wasn't enough girls on the main stage. I was like, first of all, fuck y'all. Okay, there's rap shows that don't have no women on it ever.
Right. Yo, the independent women in the game right now.
Yeah.
Killing it.
So we had Kukwe on the show, and she gave big props to you for helping her kind of get her break with the Lady Wu show.
Yeah.
You ever see that happening again?
Hell no.
Lady Wu show was dope.
You want to help me? Y'all want? I mean, first of all, most of these girls aren't even friends anymore. Okay.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's one of the factors.
Like, that's
one
like
of the
that,
main factors.
You know, and also that was an incredible time in history that a lot of people don't quite always remember because they see the things that I'm doing now. My homegirl was like, "Oh my God, like, congrats on selling out your first show," and I was kind of just like, we've been doing this lines down the block since I came in the game, you know. But that was just an era that we did at that time that you guys were also a part of. That is never going to happen again.
Now, is it because of the logistical side of it, trying to put it together, or is it just more so like the personalities and trying to? Because you know you can do something similar that's not necessarily those personalities hand in hand. I know. Down with it.
I mean, what's funny is everybody loved that shit. Yeah. Raekwon, Ghostface, they loved
nostalgia wins every time.
Yeah, and it was good.
What about a lady Cash Money show? That'd be fine.
Hey yo, I got mad ideas that we're not gonna put out there because y'all niggas be biting.
Y'all niggas be biting.
Oh yeah,
shit.
That's that.
These niggas be biting,
dude. They be biting.
I ain't even gonna say no more. That was free.
Do I get to have my tangent? Do I get to have my
moment? Hey, I don't do that time. I'm here with you.
And let the chopper off.
That just sparks something in my heart, man.
Who's biting graffiti?
Niggas.
Talk to them.
I see y'all, man.
Yeah, we do.
Like, I really had to stop saying ideas out loud. Like, just straight to my guys and our little
NDA
group text shit. Gotta, like David tells me every day, give these niggas NDA.
Here's my idea and sign this.
Man, yo, I will throw out a meme or some shit. And niggas will bite it.
Yeah, they do.
Like we see y'all, man. We see y'all. Stop.
Even when cats don't give, and you know, and I try to make sure I'm checking my ego and not be like, you know, I have this idea, like, but sometimes I have that idea and you try whatever.
Right.
But there's a couple of things, again, because I've known you guys for so long, that I was just like, y'all think that's not a new, I've seen, or like flyer designs and like some different things like that, you know, that you have kind of done, you know, is really interesting. I've even seen a couple of, you know, it's the Avenue thing's out, but like you know, I've seen a couple like niggas with monikers and things of that nature, and or even like their beat production and stuff like that. Now all of a sudden, cats are out here sending me their beat packs and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I've heard that before because I know.
Right. How do you get it? So,
I don't want to upset.
I like the way this episode is going. This is just how we talk. So this is a good show.
And a boom, fuck it.
But yo,
mine's not hard.
How do you stay out of your own head though? Because the issue I have is now I just I'm like, fuck it. That's why I just have my little moment because I haven't been saying nothing. But it's easy to be like, all right, yo, they got that from me. When you have a creative mind because you're thinking this shit daily.
Yeah.
But how do you stay out of your own head? Because like I know you'll have to see some shit and be like, yo, that's me, or they're hella trying to be Roux right now. In some cases, they might not even know, but in most cases, they do.
Yeah.
But just how do you just not even focus on that type of shit?
Because I realize also that I am a teacher. And so that helps me because like if it's so clear, there's a lot of people who I've like taught things about, you know, how to work the internet, how to do Facebook, how to, you know, organize and put your things together, welcome letters and multiple other aspects of like shows and things like that. And I use that as an example because it was the first thing that popped in my head. So when he sees this, I don't want him to be like, rant. Sorry, babe. But some part of it is that like there's certain parts of the game that we all should know. Right. So it's okay if I teach people certain things that will help them learn to fish. That's perfectly fine. People come to me all the time and I'll have coffee with them and they want to know how can I promote better and how can I whatever. And I give them the same How to Kill the Game 101 spiel and send them on their way. And those are the people who I admire and I appreciate when I see them trying to implement my formula because I'm like, okay, maybe you're not a C grade student.
Right.
The people who annoy me the most are the ones who are like clearly trying to activate under the umbrella of how I do it without showing any respect. Right. And it's not about because they should show respect to me, but that shows me that they're a poor student because they never had nobody teach them before or mentor them in a way that they would want to give props to. So I can tell tell you about like all of my teachers. I am a student of Dream Hampton and Carl Jung and Danielle Elliott Smith and all of them, you know.
Right.
I am a student of them, and I'm proud to say that because they are the ones who set the tone. But then I see other cats who try to, like, quote, do what I do, and they do it so sloppily that I'm like, now, if you had just asked me,
Right.
I could show you, because you can always do what I've done, but you don't know what I'm going to do next.
Right.
You can't apply my formula to it, but show some respect that your biting ass is over here trying to do what I do,
Right.
and I can help you actually put your own thing on
Work
it.
together.
Let's work, or just... You know, I can show you how to make it your own, so
Right.
you don't have to walk around like with my imprint, because that handprint is right on your face. We all seen it.
Like, it's okay to watch people and observe to get things started, but once you get started, like, don't steal people's whole wave and whole style and whole formula.
Because
like,
it's much easier to just reach out. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yo, don't bite me. I will help you.
Yeah.
Y'all know me.
Totally.
Like,
I'll tell
I
you how
don't
to
even
do it.
need any credit. I will help you so your shit will
Absolutely.
be successful. Because it's going to flop if it just looks like a mock version of what I'm doing. Right. So,
you see, a life is cool, yo.
Yeah.
Oh
Pulling
my
up.
life is
Lord,
nice.
okay.
yeah, we
Nah,
might
we
really
haven't
pull
done
up
that
on y'all
shit.
niggas. I know Davey be going to church.
You
But
done
I'm not all the way sanctified yet. I still might shoot a nigga.
You always you say that for years.
Because it's true. I mean, I'm sorry. Allegedly.
Oh my god.
So,
I also think real quick it's important to notice, and I think that I say this to the people who hate me because of the amount of quote credit that I get or the longevity I have in the scene. And the same thing with you guys, and some other people like Trev and whatever, Francois, Johnny. It's okay to recognize that some of us are born with it.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And it's okay to understand, like Kanye said all these years ago, it's in our coding, right?
Yeah.
We're not just here because you tripped and like now this is a thing. Like it's in our coding. This is my plan. I'm where I'm supposed to be. This is a thing,
Right.
So you're not going to be able to replicate what it is that I do, and you shouldn't hate me because I do it.
Right.
Because this is who I am. It's my destiny. I come from a long line of women who worked in the music industry and worked with Jay-Z and LL and all of them. This is like really what I do. So stop like sending people messages when they give me praise because I help them out with something.
Right.
Just get over it, because I'm gonna be out here.
Right.
I really want you guys to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like really just calm down. People are going to praise me all the time,
Right.
I accept it just like I accept the hate. I tell them all thank you and I move on. And I still smile when I see them.
Right.
Okay?
Straight up.
So stop fucking hawking how niggas is giving me, props and shit. It's really unbecoming. It's quite obnoxious and really, it's
Word.
unbecoming. You're better than that.
Word.
And then also, I think you just need to know, not to quit, but when something might not be your thing. Maybe rapping isn't your thing. Maybe producing isn't your thing. Maybe writing and putting on shows, maybe that's just not your thing.
Right. A lot of y'all.
If it works for most people, it's not going to work for everybody. I mean, everybody has access, like Young Doe said when he came on the show. Now everybody has access to the tools to do these things, but like you said, it has to kind of be in you to do it correctly.
And think about the world that you're depriving when you don't give them your true talent.
I know, man. We need y'all niggas at McDonald's.
Shut up!
Somebody got to salt these fries.
That wasn't where he was going.
Somebody has to salt these fries.
Hey, man. Plenty of strength.
Hey, automation probably about to get McDonald's up out of here.
Yeah, man. Well, shit. Subway's still there, man. We need y'all to make these sandwiches. That's all I'm
Meatball
trying to say.
marinara.
Yo, that fire song might not be as fire to us as it is to you, but that burger about to be on point. So get in
Killing it.
Burger King, sorry.
Okay.
You notice how footlong stopped being $5 and they just slid that up.
And they not
Oh,
so long.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
That's breaking news.
I'm like, $7?
believe it
For a
is.
footlong?
Right, y'all got a jingle and everything, dude. $5 jingle.
Man,
All right, man.
I
Well,
want my
shit.
country back. And
America
I want
great.
$5 footlongs back.
Make America dope again.
Make America
Hashtag.
dope again.
Make
Seriously.
Subway
Copyright.
footlongs $5 again.
Make Chick-fil-A open on Sundays for once. But yeah,
Ever.
we can go on forever with Roux, but we're gonna wrap it. I got this question for you. One piece of knowledge, advice, love, whatever that you would leave with the world. What would it be?
She gave us a lot too.
I know. I talked a lot. Well, I think my position on life in general is to, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. And I always say stay black, and people are like, oh, what if I'm not black? But I mean
Stay
that.
black too, then.
Exactly. Like, I mean that in that sense of understanding that, like, like Jay says, black is no longer the opposite or the reverse or the shadow of something, but now the thing itself. And so eventually people are going to understand who you are if you maintain that long enough.
Straight up.
Drive it like you stole it.
That's
All
what's
day
up.
long.
So how can people get in contact with you? Social media?
I don't know why they would want to get in contact with me. Yeah, I'm on all the socials. I'm on Facebook as Roux Johnson. I'm on Instagram. Don't send me a message on Instagram because I won't see it. But you can always email me, roux@rouxblack.com. I am on Facebook as Roux Johnson. And yeah, I'm out here in these streets, despite what they say. You can always find me.
Word.
Come with that budget too.
Come with that budget.
Come with a bag.
Come with a bag.
We appreciate it, Ms.
Thank you.
Roux Johnson, Roux Black, Roux everything.
Hey.
Clap it up. Hey.
You both are incredible. I admire the both of you
Appreciate
so
that.
much
Thank you.
on such high levels of your visionary and your longevity and your kindness and your generosity and your strength and your knowledge. I appreciate the both of you.
Hey.
Thank you so much. Hey. Life is Dope podcast. I'm Graffiti.
And I'm Davey.
Skirt.
We out.